forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Hey guys, just finished watching Power Rangers. Came back from the theaters, and it was pretty a fun movie. It was pretty good. For what it is, it's Power Rangers. I mean, backstory of my Power Rangers there, me with Power Rangers, I kind of never really watched it too much. I mean, I'd watch it bits and pieces here and there Saturday mornings, but usually it was just while waiting for something else to watch. Maybe the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'd watch that, and there'd be Power Rangers on before that. But I'd always prefer the Turtles over the Power Rangers, just because the cartoon Turtles was way more realistic, and even as a young kid, I never really liked Power Rangers too much, but it was something interesting. I would just kind of watch it since it was what was before Turtles, or what was before, a Batman show, a Justice League show, a Marvel show, or a DC show. Mostly I was really always been excited with Marvel and DC stuff, obviously with all this stuff on this channel, but definitely, I just would watch some of these. I never really fell into them. I mean, I've watched Jason David Frank probably more on Bat in the Sun than I have watched him in actual Power Rangers. So, in actual Power Rangers movies or TV show. I did watch the 90s movie back in the day and didn't see it in theaters. I just watched it on cassette and stuff, home video. I think we had that, and we used to watch that all the time. That used to always play on TV, and I'd watch it on TV a lot. And then I would remember watching it when it first came out on video. And so, so it definitely was interesting. It was really cool. I did realize there are cameos in this movie, and I recognized them right away. It was both the original Green Power Ranger, Jason David Frank, and the other, the pink one, which is pretty cool. So I really liked this. This movie was kind of fun for what it is. The special effects were kind of interesting. To me, they thought they were believable. Although I remember did hear some people in the theater complain that the CGI looked a little fake to them. But I mean, they even liked that. They even heard people behind me while I was waiting for the hidden scene, which there was no hidden scene, by the way. There is a mid-credit scene, but not a hidden scene. And the mid-credit scene is not really that mid-scene. It's just like the first, the graphics, where they still have like the visually interesting credits. Then they go down to the regular black and white credits type thing. So they had a little hidden scene there. But it was definitely interesting to see, the things going on and see how things went. Things were obviously predictable with the story and stuff, but it was a little bit interesting, trying to get involved with the characters and stuff. And, things were kind of obvious. I mean, there are things that happens that you were like, oh my God, is this person gonna come back? And it's just like, well, no, they're obviously not gonna do this, in the first movie. At this point in the movie, nothing's happened, and this is already happening. So obviously, this thing is not gonna happen. So without trying to spoil it too much, I definitely recommend liking it. If you love Power Rangers, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love it. It's awesome. It's serious Power Rangers type thing. Now, I never really got into Power Rangers because I always found it campy and silly and just kind of almost a little stupid, in my opinion, just because I found it too fake and stuff like that. But with this, you get none of that. So if you kind of, like the idea of Power Rangers but never like the shows, I think you might like this, If you love the shows, then you're definitely going to like this anyways. Although I think it would have been an opportunity, like, since, going to Comic-Con here, I always see Power Rangers here. I've seen them in Ottawa and Montreal, around here often, so I think it would have been really easy for them to just get all the original Power Rangers and have them, more than just cameos. They definitely do have cameos in this, but having them throughout the whole movie, if they could have played parents of these new Power Rangers or older siblings of these new Power Rangers, and just have them, full-on roles they could keep them in this franchise, and as they make more of these new ones, keep the original Power Rangers guys in this. I think that would definitely be cool to see that, and I think we all do want to see that. Whether you like Power Rangers or not, you appreciate that even if you've never watched the series. I mean, I think I watched the first episode of the first season once on Netflix when the first trailer came out, but that was it feels like almost a year ago now, so I didn't really remember it. But I would have recognized the actors and stuff, and I have seen things like that, seen them a few times around Comic-Con. Never gone up to see them, but I've just seen them from afar. So yeah, I definitely think it would have been a missed opportunity there with the original cast to not get them. Yeah, it was cool seeing them with that one fleeting hidden scene, but it was kind of just, it didn't do anything to the story, and they're not characters. They don't even have a line or anything like that, which would have been cool to see them have a line, or even have them, play original Power Rangers or something like that. There's even this scene in the beginning where I thought, oh my god, this is the perfect opportunity for them to be original Power Rangers, original Power Ranger actors. But no, it's not them. So that was kind of a bummer. But like I said, having them playing a father, a parent, older siblings, cousin, whatever, just a character that could be in these movies as they could keep continuing on would be pretty awesome and pretty cool to do that. Just like they're doing on The Flash, Supergirl. I guess Flash is Supergirl. How they have all these original actors playing roles, in here and coming on as much as possible. So, getting back to this movie itself, it was pretty good. I kind of liked it. Like some of the things. Some of the other things were obviously kind of predictable with things that are going on. You know what? Spoilers from now on. So if you've watched it from here on, spoilers if you haven't seen it. So there was a lot of things that were kind of predictable, like what was going on with the Black Ranger and was his name, I think, Billy and stuff. His when he died, and then it was like obviously that he's only became a morphed once, and he only put on the suit once, and he's not gonna stay dead. That was pretty obvious. But it was cool at the beginning seeing actually Bryan Cranston as Zordon in the beginning. I didn't expect to see him like that, although I didn't know the story about this. Maybe someone else who was deep into this Power Ranger story. I don't know if that's something original to this movie or different. That's one thing with him for me, is I don't really know what's original to this movie and what's new. I mean, I have an idea. I'm assuming that the Zordon origin and all that stuff is new, and the fact that Rita Repulsa was actually the Green Ranger, I feel like that's new from what I know about the character. I mean, obviously it's David Frank in the original series, and later on he evolves into the White Ranger. Then he's the White Ranger in the movie and stuff. So it was definitely interesting seeing Elizabeth Banks and doing her thing. She was pretty great. And so was Bryan Cranston playing Zordon. I mean, we didn't see him much other than the beginning. So definitely something interesting to see. I think it was really funny at the end when Big Megazord just knocked Elizabeth Banks, Rita Repulsa, into space, and she was kind of floating there. She froze, and I was like, oh, she's going to land on the moon totally. And that's what I was expecting the hidden scene to be, her waking up on the moon or something like that, just like in the original series. I was hoping to see that. And it was also really cool, I think, when they first got into their Megazords, before they even transformed, but they're just chasing around. They had the actual original Power Rangers theme song, which was pretty cool, and it was pretty awesome seeing that. So I definitely can't wait to see where this continues on, if they do another one. Don't know if I'll run to the theaters for it, but I mean, if there's nothing else coming out the weekend, I would see a sequel if they do a sequel. So definitely can't wait to see what they do with the sequel and where things go with this. See other people's opinion, but for me, this was kind of just a meh. I give it a 6 out of 10. It was just kind of nothing I'm gonna remember, nothing I'm gonna forget, or it's just kind of. It's a Power Rangers movie, although I do prefer that, I forget what the guy's name is, but there was that rated R, like, violent Power Ranger clip online by the guy who did the Punisher Dirty Laundry skit. I would have preferred a movie from that and that style, and that would have been way better, in my opinion. But then again, Power Rangers is for kids and stuff like that. And surprisingly, there weren't that many kids in my theater. I mean, there was more people older than the kids playing the Power Rangers most people in my theater were kind of older than the kids in the movie playing the Power Rangers. So, which pretty tells you a lot. Although it was one of the early showings, so it wasn't that late though. It was like 7:30 when it was supposed to start the movie. So. Yeah, it was quite interesting seeing how many, fans there are of the Power Rangers in my theater, and there were not kids in them and stuff like that. So that was quite interesting to see, and it was definitely can't wait to see where things go. And it also was fun seeing Alpha 5 was kind of interesting, although I would have preferred if they just got the original Alpha 5 actor with the high voice and stuff like that. It sounded kind of weird. Although I found him kind of annoying in the original show all the time, but I guess, Bill Hader was kind of good as him here. Definitely can't wait to see where things continue on from here, and it was a fun thing, just a fun popcorn movie if you're going to go see it. If you like the Power Rangers, or you just want to bring your kids to see a superhero movie that's not super violent at all, was definitely interesting. Oh, and there was one thing here I remember from the original series. From what I've seen of Power Rangers, is they always would bring their guns together. You always had swords and knives and guns and this and that they were able to use just in their costume. They would just summon this gun or this sword or this thing, and they would do that. And they had one sword in this, and rather than having all these other little guns that they could bring together to make one big bazooka type thing, and they would blast the monster or something like that. And then when that didn't work, they had to get out the big Zord and come into the monster stage. So that would have been interesting to see different weapons and different swords and different things like that. Like, could have seen that. But it was quite interesting. Otherwise, it was just quite interesting just seeing the Zords and stuff. Although I didn't feel like we didn't get much of that. I would like to have seen them maybe a little earlier on in the movie, just getting them all Power Rangers up. But I guess I like the idea that they're trying to build up the characters first, which is something they've never done in a Power Rangers, for what I know. I don't know of any, the Power Rangers have always just been these kind of like stereotype this and this, and even the colors of them has always been stereotypically and stuff like that. So, so it was just kind of interesting, I guess, getting some backstory. Did I really fall in love with the characters or anything like that? Yes, no. I mean, more than any other I have with any other Power Rangers thing, but that's not saying much for Power Rangers. You never have strong characters other than Tommy, who's just been there so long throughout the series. There's not really that they wrote a backstory for him. It's just he's just been there so long. We have almost 10 years or years worth of decades of worth of history. You can't really and it doesn't really matter whether you wrote that history or he's just history, because he's just who he is type thing. So it definitely was interesting to see, and I definitely think it would have liked to have seen them Power Rangers suit up, morph up earlier in the movie. But it definitely was fun to see actually some backstory to the characters and stuff. But I don't know if I really, fell in love with the characters or anything like that. So, yeah, it was a fun movie. Definitely can't wait to see what happens with this, if it gets a sequel or something. But I don't know if I'd run to the theaters to see it. Unless you're a diehard Power Rangers fan, then you're going to see this with or without my recommendation. So, yeah, let me know what you think, guys, about Power Rangers in the comments below. Did you see the movie? And what do you think about the... What do you think about the movie? What do you think about the cameos and all that stuff? I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.